Hey everyone, welcome in to another daily editorial here on the KE Report. In this daily editorial, I am getting an update from LithiumBank, traded on the TSX Venture Exchange under the symbol LBNK. Again, LithiumBank, still a relatively new company to the market. It was listed in about mid-March of this year. I am chatting with the Chief Operating Officer, Kevin Piepgrass. Now, Kevin, LithiumBank is focused at the company's Boardwalk Lithium Brine Project in Western Central Alberta. And the company is doing the work that's needed to move through a PEA on this asset. The news that we're covering today deals with a news release that came out just today, November 1st. Talks about LithiumBank reporting up to 60 times grade increases and production of high purity lithium concentrate from DLE test work at this Boardwalk project. Now, some of the early on numbers here are 93% of lithium chloride recovery was achieved in under 60 minutes. The testing produced a concentrate with a range between 35 to 60 times grade increase over the initial raw lithium brine concentration levels, and a high purity lithium concentrates between 2,500 to 4,000 milligrams per liter. That is at the end of this DLE process. Now, this whole DLE, Direct Lithium Extraction technology, is still growing. You can argue that a lot of money has been put into this recently to really see what the potential is for extracting lithium through this direct lithium extraction process. Let's first talk about these numbers here, Kevin. How did they fit into what the company was expecting? Any other insights you can give us in terms of how listeners should more or less understand these results from this early on test work?
Yeah, sure, Corey. I guess first and foremost is these results are very encouraging. A 93% recovery in under 60 minutes is great news for the company and for the project. These results are the results of a really intensive 4-month test work program where we put conductive energy through the ringers of this test work. These results are on the backs of understanding what parameters can be manipulated to achieve the results and understand how much time it takes to recover the lithium, what recovery you get based on different ion exchange material amounts you use. How does temperature play a role? How does pH play a role? So there's a lot of manipulations you can do on the things you can manipulate, and you don't want to change the things that are natural parameters of the brine as much as possible because those take energy and money. So these results are really great based on this initial test work.
So the way I understand it too is that this work is all filtering into the PEA, but as you outlined, it's almost like a science experiment too, where you can utilize different technologies and play around with how you're inputting all these different aspects of it to come out with different recoveries. So these results, is this what the company's going to go forward with in the PEA?
Yeah, I think we found on this initial testing that we have a bit of a sweet spot, I guess, where we could start building off of these results to start the chemical and process engineering of the processing facility downstream. That said, LithiumBank has always stated that we're always looking beyond the PEA. So collaborating with Hatch and Conductive, we're going to continue to optimize and run some test work. So these numbers may even improve a little bit pre-PEA, but we're also going to continue to optimize post-PEA and looking forward to a pilot facility and feasibility level studies in the future.
So as I mentioned, this whole DLE technology, it's growing. There's money being put into it and different kind of experiments being undertaken with this type of technology. These results come from work that you guys have partnered with Conductive Energy. That's a company out of Calgary, Alberta. Take us through Conductive Energy, why you guys chose this company. What benefits do you have working closely with Conductive here?
Well, if you go back, we engaged with Hatch, 14 months ago to conduct a comparison study of all the different DLE technologies that were out there that they thought would be suitable for our brine specifically. And conductive was one of the ones shortlisted that we were testing. And as we went through, we started to see that their results initially started to look very promising. So, we went really in depth with them specifically. Them being in Calgary is also very advantageous. We have our brine stored in a Calgary facility, so it's really easy to collaborate with them in that regard.
Now, I also saw that Conductive Energy, it looks like they produce all of their needed materials for this DLE technology. Is that scalable? Do you know if you do move forward with a larger pilot program or even into potential production?
Yeah, so conductive is fairly advanced in the DLE world, I'd say. Their research and development lab is in Calgary, but their manufacturing is in the United States. With supply chain issues, they've really cut the costs and time in manufacturing their own, and they manufacture their own resin in house, and so they have control on quality and all that sort of thing, which is very important in this field. So they're scalable, I would say, because they have two pilots currently in North America that they're operating. So that's quite an achievement for a DLE company. So they're growing quite fast, and they're going to be in a position to commercially produce these things, I think, in the very near.
So, Kevin, as we're looking at these numbers, and again, they'll filter into the PEA, but you even said you're constantly looking at other alternatives, other companies, even, who knows, maybe tinkering with a little bit of what conductive energy does here. But when you break down these numbers, so you have the percentage of lithium chloride recovery over a certain time frame, as well as the grades in that lithium concentrate, what's most important in terms of if you're able to improve on it, what could move the needle the most for the company?
Yeah, there's a lot of trade-offs to do, right? And a lot of those trade-offs we'll even find as we progress the PEA with. It's a really trade-off study, right? So ultimately, you want to have the least amount of resin used and to recover the highest percentage of lithium as possible, keeping in mind, there are some environmental impacts where you want to reduce the amount of fresh water as much as possible. So finding that sweet spot, is really a trade-off study that is undertaken as part of this study. So you want, and the cost of the resin is also a big factor. So as we continue down the road, we've gone down the road with other technology companies that we'll continue to finish our test work with, and report those as they come through. But we're quite happy with the results that we've seen with conductive to carry through the PEA.
Now, as it filters into the PEA, any insights on news that will be coming up on top of the PEA and when we might start to see some of the numbers around a completed PEA?
Yeah, I mean we're progressing on many fronts with the boardwalk. We're going to be updating the resource because we've collected those 4 samples. So we'll need a resource update in the near term as that ties into the PEA as well, and hopefully report some additional PEA milestones as we go forward before the end of the year. There.
Kevin, can we also talk a little bit about this DLE technology or this growing sector in general? Because as I've mentioned a couple of times, this is new to a lot of investors. And quite frankly, I do get some pushback of investors saying, is direct lithium extraction even going to work on a larger scale? What can you tell us about how this sector is progressing? Any other updates more from the inside?
I'd say this technology is progressing exponentially. If you rewind 8-10 years ago, any DLE in the lithium space was really theoretical and thought as a possibility. And you can do these small lab scale tests and get 100% recovery. That's not a hard thing to do in a lab. Ion exchange itself is a very old technology. It occurs in many different fields every day around the world. Ion exchange is water softeners in your home, and there's ion exchange at commercial scales for in the cobalt industry, in the uranium industry. These are already scalable ion exchange systems. Nowhere in the world has there ever been a need for this much lithium in such a short amount of time. So you can imagine, as this demand has grown very, very quickly, only very recently that we've seen an influx of investment dollars and research dollars going into, okay, we got to get this thing going at a commercial scale. Where before it was just like, yeah, it's doable in the lab, but now it's quite serious, and there's some serious money entering the space to get this thing into the commercial production, because it's going to make us a very big difference in the industry, and it's a much needed difference in the industry.
Yeah, it's just interesting to see the growth in this DLE interest as well as companies really going down this road. Again, it's early on, but LithiumBank, you are moving towards that PEA where there just aren't that many companies in the lithium space looking at direct lithium extraction that, quite frankly, are even at this level. So, interesting story to follow along with here, Kevin. I do appreciate the updates on the progress towards this PEA. If any of you listening have any follow-up questions for Kevin regarding any aspect of LithiumBank, especially around that Boardwalk Lithium Brine Project, please email me, fleck@kereport.com. I'll be having the group back on the back of some more news, but I'm also happy to get your questions addressed in the meantime. So, Kevin, thank you again for the update, and please keep me up to date on future news.
Great. Thanks, Corey.